and welcome to One Stop Co-op Shop. This is Steve, and I'm here with Co-op Corner. So this is our second time using this format. Co-op Corner is going to be a bi-weekly news-focused discussion, very brief, focused on cooperative games. So if you are interested in joining us live, you can join us live and talk about any of the games we have brought up or ask any questions you have. But we'll jump into this. I gotta say hi real quick. I see Ryan. Hey, Ryan, I see you here. And Mike. Teamwork makes the dream work. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, we got a lot to talk about in a relatively short period of time, so let's dive into it. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, let me know as we go through this. Okay, let's start off. The first one I want to talk about is a game I've been checking out and trying. It's available to demo, and that is going to be Firesiege. Firesiege game is the name of the game by Deer Games. So this one is scheduled for Kickstarter in September or October. I will be covering this on the channel. So this is kind of an early look at my first experience with this game. So this is a fully cooperative game, and it is a tower defense game, kind of crossed with something like Hanabi. So the interesting about this one is there are each person can choose a fantasy character. The fantasy character is going to have, I believe, 16 cards that are unique for them. And of these 16 cards, you're going to draw them randomly. You have 3 of them in front, so I can circle them over here, like 3 of these. And there are a white side, which is good for the players, and a black side, which is bad for the players. So on your turn, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be picking one of these cards to play. Now the kicker is you can look at the face facing you, but you cannot see the other side of the card facing everyone else. And it's limited communication, so your players at the table are trying to convey, hey, this one's a pretty good one to play that one, or avoid that card right now, I can't do it. You can't tell them exactly what's on the bag, but you kind of talk about what might be better or worse, basically, is what comes down to it. And the goal of the game, there are going to be a number of mission cards up here. So there's always 3 available, and you need to get 3 banners. So there's basically scenario cards, different goals you have to do in this. You try and do that before there's a track over here that if you ever reach the center of it, you lose the game. And there are also lanes. If you look at the main part of the board, there's a red, green, and yellow, and there are nests spawning all these enemies over here that will be moving towards the middle. If they reach the middle, we lose. There's also these good characters you can have, kind of like soldiers you can recruit. But the big thing about this is you can like level them up a little bit. So you're managing your power. Also, each character has a power they can unlock. And working together to stop these lanes of enemies reaching the center while completing those before anyone gets eliminated and people reach the middle. It's kind of how it works. Very cool game, very interesting concept. Very much a cooperative game. There is a solo mode in it. It's a solo mode. I dabble a little bit with the solo mode, but I don't really have good thoughts on that. And that one I need to play more to really share that experience. But if you kind of like the Hanabi flavor and you want something fantasy themed, this is like Hanabi plus. Like a step out complexity, a lot more going on. Very, very cool game. I was surprised playing this one. So this one was Firesiege. And like I said, it's coming to Kickstarter in September, October timeframe. We will be covering it here during that timeframe. Okay, let's move on to the next one, which is going to be a game that is coming to purchase. This is going straight to. Ooh, what's going on my computer here? Straight to. Oh no, this one here. This is announced. Deep Rock Galactic. This one is. We don't know much about this, but I'm a huge fan of Deep Rock Galactic board game, and I do love the video game as well. And I've been covering this on this channel, so you guys should be familiar with this. But this is coming to Kickstarter sometime this year. We don't know when. By Mood Publishing is going to do it. And it's going to be 2 expansions. One expansion is going to be a space rig, which is going to focus on additional mission types, which honestly is one of the big cons for me for this game, the core game, because there's not enough mission variety. And in the video game, there's a ton of missions. So I'm really excited to see that. In the image, I can see there is a driller. Not driller, a drill dozer, which is one of the escort missions in the video game. So I'm excited to see how they're going to implement that in the board game. Also, they're going to do biomes, which is really exciting because in the base game, the caves are all very generic. It's just a cave, right? But in the real game, there are different environments in the cave, like lava, for example, crystals, poison, lightning, all sorts of fun stuff. So I'm curious to see how they're going to intervene or intertwine those environments into the core game. But there's going to be 2 expansions coming up. There is no confirmation on if the core is going to be reprinted, but honestly, if I was a betting man, I would bet they would reprint the core for sure. You can still get a few copies of the core if you're looking for it through the backer kit link. But anyway, not a lot of information about this. I'm hoping I can provide more for you. I did reach out to the publisher to see if I can help cover this one. No response yet, but that one is coming. So, yeah, Greg, do you think they'll offer a reprint of the original? I honestly suspect they will, but like I said, that is just my suspicion. No confirmation on that. If I do have confirmation, I will definitely let you guys know. Okay, so that is next game to talk about. We also had the Spield Jahres was announced. So the winner of the Spield Jahres was Dorf Romantik. So Spield Jahres is a group over in Germany, and they have every year they vote on the best game of the year, and it's normally a pretty big deal where whoever gets picked tends to get a lot of attention and sells pretty well. So Dorf Romantik was picked, and this is based off a video game as well. I'm not familiar with the video game at all. So this game is, how do I describe this one? It's kind of like Carcassonne-ish, but cooperative, hence why I'm bringing this up. It is hex-based, so what you'll be doing, you will be choosing, let me fix my screen here so I can help out here. So this will be even better. So you will be picking these tiles, and the tiles will have different missions on them. You put them on there, it might say like, hey, make a river that's 4 long, or whatever it is. And you flip it over and it gives you some points. Or it might be like, hey, make a village of this size, and you make a village of that size. Cool. Now, to place the tiles down, you can put the tile anywhere you want, as long as the rivers and railroads make sense. That's the only placement rules. And basically, you're going to do this playing, gathering points, until you run through the whole deck. At the end of the game, you'll see how many points you get. Depending on how many points you get, you might be able to unlock these tuck boxes. So kind of like a secret hidden element. And these will add more things to your game to gain more points, because if you need to get so many points in order to unlock all the boxes. One thing about this game, there really isn't a winner or loser, to be honest. You're just playing through the tiles until you get to the end and see how many points you get. To be fair, that's not really my style at all. I like to have a winning condition, but I know there's a lot of people that like this one. I wanted to mention this on this news thing because it was Spield Jahres winner, and people might be interested in this one. So that was Dorf Romantik for Spield Jahres. Okay, let us move on to some more games to talk about. The next one is moving into... Ooh, what's going on here? Computer. Something's going on. Oops. Okay. So moving on to more games being announced. So this is Spider-Geddon. If you're familiar with this channel, this probably doesn't come as a surprise that we're talking about it. Marvel United, absolutely love the game. So this one is a new core set, essentially. It is going to include, as far as I can tell, all the components you need. So if you haven't played any Marvel United, this is a jumping in point. I'm mentioning this because as of today, I have seen it on Amazon for purchase. It is not available to get to purchase it right away. It looks like it's going to be purchased later in August, because in Gen Con, they are going to have some limited copies available. And you can bet your bottom dollar, Derek from Kenji Studios and I are going to be buying and playing this at Gen Con. We will definitely be sharing our thoughts and talk about this one as soon as we can with you guys. So, yes, Mike, wouldn't be a co-op stream without Marvel United, exactly. But I want to bring this up because it is coming. This is being available. It's going to have a lot of stuff in there. 6 heroes, 2 anti-heroes, so that means they can be both villains and heroes. And then 2 additional villains. So quite a bit of content, all Spider-Man themed. They are also having the equipment cards in there as well. So it'll be our first time trying those out. I won't go through all the details of the characters, but it looks really fun for sure. I'm very excited for this one. Spot's in it, which is a really cool character. very much looking forward to it. There's a link in the description below if you want to look at the news article that gives a lot of detail about what's in the game. But as always, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me, let me know, and we'll do our best to answer those. So, hey, Brian, welcome, welcome. All right, let's keep going. Got a lot of stuff to talk about. Okay, let's move on to some Kickstarters, upcoming Kickstarters. So these are Kickstarters that are going to launch next week. So the first one I want to talk about is Vampire the Masquerade Milan Uprising. So this one is a cooperative board game, 1 to 4 players. And the big one about this is uses the Tubaru system. So I'm guessing if you have the system, you probably already know about this. But a Tubaru system is a piece of hardware that has a smart die, and it can actually read and control the AI in the game. So you will need this piece of hardware in order to play this game. I believe Bad Karma, if I remember correctly, was the first game that was produced for this system. And now this vampire game, the Masquerade, is going to be the second one that's going to produce that one. So that's coming up. It's launching in 5 days. I don't know a whole lot about this one. It's kind of hard to determine information, but I feel like if you have Tubaru, this one's worth looking into. If you don't have that system, easy pass. Don't worry about it, because you need that chunk of hardware to play this game. Let's move on to another one. Mind Expedition. So this one will be on GameFound. This one sounds actually really cool. It is, as they describe on here, D&D in a nutshell. I couldn't find like a lot of details on the rules of how it works, but scrolling down into the details of this, I don't know if it says here on the page. Yeah, here we go. So it's gonna be a hex board, and it's going to have a lot of normal fantasy elements in games where you'd like to see. So you have terrains, lots of enemies, equipment to get. I kind of feel like this is going to be a open world, almost build your own D&D adventure game with a lot of cards and a lot of variety in it. A lot of heroes, unique heroes going on, a lot of villains. Like I said, I don't have a lot of information on the rules. I wish they had a rulebook posted here, because I would have read it and give you more information. I assume there'll be more later on when the campaign launches next week. But if you like D&D, you like that type of board game, this one might be looked into. It's it looks like a big conglomeration of all these fantasy themes in one. Yeah, exactly, Greg. Yeah, Heroes of Might and Magic vibes. I agree with that for sure. Yep. So that one is Mind Expedition, is what it is. Oh yeah, I don't know if this is soloable. I don't know if it's soloable. That's a good point, Brian. Good question. Like I said, I didn't see a rulebook, so I don't have a lot of information to share. I'm just letting you know. Be on the lookout next week for this, if this interests you. Okay, let's move on to some other ones. Next one to talk about is The Siblings Trouble. This one's also coming to Kickstarter. It's going to be an expansion and a deluxe version of the core set. This is from an older game. I'm trying to think how many, like, I don't know how many years ago it was, but it is basically a mystery game in the lines of the Goonies type of thing, feel. It is very much a kid's game, a children's game, I would say. I don't really see the adults playing this one. It is, basically what it is you're going to have a deck of cards, and you're going to be creating these. There's some pre-made ones. You choose a character, and you'll be flipping the cards, and it'll be like, hey, you start at home, you choose a path, you go to the junkyard, describe how you made it to the junkyard, right? If you're familiar with Rory Story Cubes or other games like that, where you're flipping cards and you need to tell a narrative story as you go through this adventure, that is what this is focused on. It's like, oh, how did you come across this equipment you found? Maybe you found the medical kit. What does that do for you, right? It does have mechanics in it. So it's not just narration only. You will be rolling dice. And they have, for example, critical hits on the dice and critical misses, very clearly detailed. And so the kids telling the story will have to interpret what that means necessarily. And there's, of course, bosses in there as well. If you have younger kids and you want to introduce them to a D&D theme or adventure, this seems like a really good one. Like I said before, if you're only playing with adults, this one's probably an easy one to pass on. Just so you know. So Sibling Trouble is coming to Kickstarter next week as well. Okay, moving on. Next one to talk about and this is probably the last one here, is I Felt. So this is also a cooperative game. It is along the lines of those party type games where you have one person takes on a role and everyone's helping them out, are involved on the other side of the role. So in this one, you will be taking on a. Let's find notes here real quick. Hold on. You will be picking a. Oof, my gosh. Yeah, you'll be picking a feeling card. And then with that feeling card, you will be telling a true story about yourself. And then everyone else will have a little bit of time. It's actually a little bit of time segment to ask a few questions about it. And basically what everyone else is trying to do is trying to figure out what you felt in that moment in that story. And if they can guess it, you did a great job, you win. And basically, you go around the table until everyone has acted as the person telling the story, and then you figure out, who won at the end. It's supposed to be like a very, very, I use the word kumbaya, like fun cooperative experience in that sense, a party game. So that is I Felt. Mike says, only feeling I have is hungry. I'd be bad at this game. Yes. Always hungry. Always hungry. So, but yeah, so I feel like I Felt and the Sibling Trouble before it were very much like these storytelling games. A lot of them coming in next week is what comes down to it. So, but that, my friends, is all I had for this week. Like I said, I plan to keep this format very quick. I'm aiming for about 15 minutes, which, a little bit longer this time, but if you guys have any suggestions on format changes, you want to see more detail, you want me to cover different types of games or game recommendations, let me know. I will be, like I said, return to some of these games in the future when there's more information. For example, like Deep Rock Galactic, I will definitely be talking about on this. But like I said, this hopefully is useful to you. I will be. Yeah, we will be doing a co-op chat this week, but probably nothing else this week as there's just a lot going on. So. But that, my friends, is going to conclude this news chat, this co-op corner. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and thanks for joining. We'll see everyone at the next stop. Bye-bye.